Hello, this is Greg Allison from Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm, coming to you on the 22nd of May 2020. It's about sundown. I'm going to talk to you about dandelion, the beauty of dandelion. Dandelion is known as Taraxacum. That's the Latin name for it, Taraxacum. And dandelion, the name comes from Dandelion, and it's the dent from dental, which means lion's tooth in French, because the leaves kind of resemble a lion's tooth. Now we're going to look at some. It's kind of dark over here in the shade, so let's come down here and look at some of this. You see these highly serrated teeth? Kind of reminded the French of a lion's tooth, so they called them Dandelion, which meant lion's tooth, as best as I understand it. And that might be more obvious right here. And we just had some rain, so I'm not going to eat these ones. Been kind of beaten down in the mud. But the good thing about dandelion is you can eat all parts of a dandelion. You can eat the flower, the stem, and the roots. Now, flowers and the stems and the roots are good. Well, especially the flowers and the leaves, are good in salads. Now, you can make a jelly from the flowers themselves. I found some here that looks a little better, that's not been rained down into the soil. You can see some flowers here. This is kind of mixed in with a little bit of clover. And there's a little bit of leaf. See that? So watch. Yeah, got a nice flavor to it. It's not really tart like a lot of wild edibles. There's the flower. Nice and sweet. That'd be nice enough salad. Give a little sweet flavor. Now the leaf is a little bit tart, but not like a lot of other wild greens. It's not as high in the oxalic acid, apparently. But dandelions, I guess, about the only part. And to tell you, all parts can be eaten. I probably wouldn't try to eat the seeds, the puff balls. I don't imagine that would be too very agreeable. I don't think those would go down well. At least not the puffy part. Now, the funny thing about dandelions is they actually reproduce asexually. So they're not a plant that gets the pollination effect that don't help them. But as I understand it, they do have a nectar. And the nectar from the dandelion actually is one of the first things that early bees can use. So they're useful for a lot of ways. We're going to talk about some of the ways that dandelions are useful. And we're going to talk about what they can do for you. So before we get into that, I must tell you that I must give you a little disclaimer here. I'm not a medical doctor, and anytime you're eating wild vegetables or edibles and foraging, you need to know exactly what you're eating, have it identified, and consult with a local expert to ensure that you know what you're eating, because some wild things are delicious and good for you, and some can be toxic and bad for you. And I'm not a medical doctor, so if I talk about things that dandelions are alleged to do that's helpful to you, consult with a doctor. That's what I have to tell you. All that said, I'll show you some more dandelions over here. Over here we're getting close to some neighbor's house. I heard them talking, so we won't tarry here long. So it's got a nice puff ball right there, even though it's just rained out here. You can see the leaves. So we'll talk a little bit about what dandelions can do. Now, what I really hate, what really disturbs me, is the commercials from Medicinal and which is now Bayer, showing Roundup. And the one weed they always want to wipe out is the dandelion. Really? I'm going to tell you something. If you didn't have anything else growing in your yard, you shouldn't even have grass. If you didn't have, grass is terrible. Grass is useless. If you had anything growing in your yard, you should just have dandelions and clover if you're not growing a garden in your yard. I'd say grow a garden in your yard, but if you don't have time for that, grow clover. Let the dandelions grow. And dandelions are great, because what do dandelions do? Let's talk about what they do for your soil. Dandelions are like little mineral and calcium pumps. They have long, deep tap roots. And those tap roots pull up minerals like calcium from deep in the soil. So they have potassium, manganese, a little bit of iron, and some other minerals. See, that's good. Good for you. That's a very good nutritious element to go in a salad. If your soil is deficient in those minerals, they bring it up and lay it on top. And it'll be good in your garden or your yard because they're going to enrich your soil as their deep roots. Kind of like I've talked about tree roots, trees and tree fruits and tree nuts, how they give you minerals you're missing in your diet. Well, the dandelion has a deep taproot, very deep, that does that. When you pull out a dandelion root, the root is edible, and you can dry the root and make coffee from it, among other things. A type of coffee, but it's not going to be a caffeinated coffee. But it's a good coffee substitute. So salads, jellies, all these things are things you can use from the dandelion. So let's talk a bit more about what I can do for it. But first, I'm going to show you something a lot of people think it's a dandelion that's not. Something that'll be a subject of a future video. This is wild lettuce. Wild lettuce also makes puffballs and has similar leaves. And some people think this is a dandelion. But this is wild lettuce. That's some tall wild lettuce. Let me show you some wild lettuce when it's shorter. Give you a better comparison to what it might look like. Let me find out. Look, my radishes going in my front yard. That is wild lettuce. It's shorter. I'll do a video about wild lettuce in the near future because it has a lot of benefits too. So it deserves its own topic. So I do a lot of videos. I cover wild edibles, wild foraging, how you can survive, thrive, and stay alive out of the woods. And so you want to watch these videos. To do that, to make sure you get all my videos, subscribe to my channel, bang the update notification bell. And please, to support my channel, click the links below, because now it's planting season. You can get good heirloom seeds, which gives you the kind of plants back, return seeds you can replant and get the same kind of plants, which hybrid plants don't give you that. You get something else, not as good. Heirloom seeds, you can get them from True Leaf Market. Link below. You can get microgreen seeds, you can grow indoors. And prepwithgreg.com. You get $100 off a 1 month storage of food supplies. And if you use that link to get into my page of supplies, all kind of prepping supplies. And right now, you need to be thinking about prepping. So let's get back to the dandelion. It is a dandy plant indeed, because it does a lot for you. In addition to pumping minerals from down deep, dandelions fight compacted soil. They like to grow where the soil's compacted, and by growing in it, they help loosen it up for you. So they serve your bees, they decompact your soil, they pump minerals up, so they're actually very good for your yard, they're good for your garden. Anytime you have dandelions, you're ahead. It's one of the best wild grown edibles there is. It's one of the most valuable plants you can have is a dandelion. So I find great offense to those videos on killing dandelions for weeds, because they're, in my opinion, probably the best thing you can have in your yard. That and clover, if you're not already growing vegetables in your yard, and then they're still handy. So dandelions, as an herbal remedy, it's said they fight infections, muscle aches, and you can use them for joint pain, eczema, and bruises, and as a mild laxative to fight constipation. As a plant bitter, it's good to aid the digestion process because it promotes the formation of bile, or so I've heard. Again, like I said, I'm not a medical doctor, so take all this with a as a LARP session maybe. But hey, they're diuretics, so they also help with blood pressure, and they help get rid of uric acid, which is a cause of gout. So maybe they help fight gout, high blood pressure. They have many benefits, but the main benefits is the promotion of bile, and is the diuretic function to get rid of excess water, and also that helps with your liver. So they have a lot of good benefits. It's also said it may help with hives, allergies, hay fever, and excess anger. Isn't that interesting? And they act as a tonic, a stimulant. The fresh juice is most effective, but you can also prepare them as a tea. Teas are made from the flowers. Teas are made from the dried leaves also, but the flowers especially. And the flowers are thought to be the most potent part of a dandelion, actually, for the upper part. All the roots are said to be pretty good too. It's also said that they can fight some bacteria And there's been research in Canada suggesting, just suggesting that they might be effective in dealing with some types of cancer. Now I'm saying there's research, it's suggestive, it's not proven, okay? There's nothing proven there. It's just an interesting thing. More research is to be done. Of course, there's not a lot of incentive to research things that these companies can't patent, if you know what I mean. So, so as an infusion are said to treat gallstones, jaundice, and again I mentioned liver problems. So think about that. So what are they rich in? Vitamins A, C, and K. A, C, and K. Hey, how do you remember that? How about my good friend Rex with Zorg, General Zorg. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Vitamins A, C, and K. And you need K when you're taking vitamin D or you're getting out in the sun a lot, because vitamin K helps keep vitamin D from demineralizing your bones and forming sludge in your blood veins. But you need vitamin D to boost your immune system. So there you go. But you know, here's another interesting. Dandelions have a latex, which actually helps form, you could use it for a natural rubber. Imagine that. Dandelions helping make rubber. That's a possibility. So what can you use dandelions for? You can use them in infusions, decoctions. You can do what's called a gold extract, the juice, or make a tincture from the roots. Now an infusion, so if you're going to do an infusion, you just sieve about 2 tablespoons of the plant or root in a cup of boiling water, and take 1/2 to a cup a day, and lukewarm to cold, something in that area. Decoction, 4 ounces of fresh plant and 2 pints of water. Boil gently in about a pint. Strain it and take about 3 tablespoons 6 times a day is, you know, what the advice I've heard. Gold extract. Gold extract, you use 2 tablespoons of plant and a cup of water, and let it stand for about 8 hours. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit. Juice. Use the fresh milk leaves and press the juice for a spring tonic. And you probably don't want to use that too. That's that latex. You want to be careful of that, because I know in the wild lettuce, that's mildly toxic, but it's also used to treat pain as a pain medicine. So I'm going to cover wild lettuce in an upcoming video. Root tincture, fresh or dried root. You chop it to small pieces, put in a jar, and you cover the roots with 90 to 100 proof alcohol. Yeah, I think you probably should go higher than that, because you don't want any bacteria forming in it. Close the lid, set in a cool, dry place for 6 to 8 weeks, and strain with a cheesecloth. And then you about a millimeter to 30 drops, you know, 1 to 3 times a day. That's the advice with a tincture. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. So, roots, you can chop them, dry them, like I said, dehydrate them, and make coffee. Now I'm going to show you this. This is something I've been making tea with, and I've been letting it set like the gold formula, and then making the tea, boiling it, because it lets it set overnight in some cold water. About a mason jar, take about 2 good tablespoons, actually get a little bit more than that, and let them set. And it's got, all right, that's more than dandelion flowers. That's dandelion flowers and some licorice root and some other herbs. But what that's helping me with, I'm going to move because mosquitoes are going to start eating me. If you stay still, the mosquitoes start finding you. So sometimes it's best this time of the day to walk around. All that said, the dandelion tea I drink, it's a dandelion, licorice root, and some other herbs. And it seems to be helping me with a cough that I've had. I'm sure y'all have heard that. So when I drink it, I'm good for a few days. I let it sit overnight in cold water, about a mason jar full. And then it starts to seep out, and the water starts getting the color. And then I boil it. Sometimes I just boil it straight out. And what that does is it makes a tea that's bitter. That bitter tea is useful for a lot of things, but for me, I'm treating cough with it. And again, that's not medical advice. Don't take my advice. I'm not a medical doctor. Consult your medical doctor before you do anything. This is a tea mix. It's got dandelion flowers in it, licorice root, and other herbs. I've been feeling a little down today, so I am going to pour this straight into this cup and drink it tonight, because I have found this tea knocks out coughs for me. And I've had a long nagging cough. When I take this tea, I'm good for a few days. So pretty amazing. You see the dandelion flowers here. It's just got licorice root and a few other herbs in here, but this stuff is pretty good in terms of knocking out my coughs. But it is a bitter tea. It is a medicinal tea. But holy smoke, it does the good things for me. Again, that's not dandelion, my friends. That is wild lettuce. And that is a wild cherry tree. That's nice to have. Show you a couple other things while we're walking around here. I do have another persimmon tree that's been growing up here, and it's finally blooming for the first time. And these blooms are going to lead to the formation of persimmons. See that bloom? I hope to eat the persimmon for that. I hope I beat the possums to it. Anyway, we got blooms up in this, and that's good. And of course, I've got 2 trees next to my house that are blooming. And what is this? Thorny looking thing. Apple, pear. Interesting. And some more wild lettuce. Wild grape down here. Muscadine type. Grape leaves are edible. That looks like a cherry right there. Oh my gosh, I got all kind of fruit stuff growing up here. But I'm really excited with the that this tree has finally started to bear and will make some fruit for me. I love persimmons. Wild persimmons are great. So there you have it. Dandelion. That's what's for supper. Dandelions are good. Dandelions are great. Dandelions are dandy indeed. So again, I tell you, I hate it when I see the commercials with them killing the dandelions. Look here, we got some wild volunteer radishes or something popping up here. Greens. And you know, I'm about to cut the scapes off these and probably take them to the farmer's market or start eating them, because I don't want these bulbs to start drying out. I might let a few go to flower. But look at the ones over there. Holy smoke, they're up tall against the greenhouse. So, a lot more videos coming on wild edibles. A lot more videos coming. Clover. My friends, I'm not going to starve to death. If you watch my channel, you won't either. The aim of my channel is to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And I do cover a wide range of topics to those ends. So stay tuned, watch them, subscribe, double check. We know that there's a big tendency of YT to unsubscribe people or change their subscription level when they click all. And when you bang the bell for notifications, update notifications, click all. But sometimes the algorithm will unclick you. I've had people tell me that. So go in and check that out. With these little willow leaves. Those are tight and fresh. These are bitter. Like Tia's mentioned, the dandelions. Now that stuff's bitter. It's not like it's got some of the herbs in there are bitter, and that makes a bitter tea, but it's definitely medicinal. And that willow leaf is also bitter. That's a headache fighter. Now I don't really have a headache, but I'm just kind of walking around, showing you some things that are possible, things to think about. I've done a lot of videos that cover a lot of these topics, such as making Tamiflu from sweet gum. So, again, thank you for watching.